I went in with the irrational hope of a new energy and a new aggression for the offseason, and I left irritated. And I got irritated a little bit during it. The humbled Jerry Jones that I heard so much on this show and towards the end of the regular season was not there. That man was absent. It was not humble Jerry. It was testy Jerry over Micah Parsons. It was ho-hum Jerry over finding the next defensive coordinator.
Thanks for asking.
Guys, last year was a hard decision finding Schotty. This is nothing. And that pissed me off so much. It riled me up so much because you just failed miserably with the defensive coordinator hires. It was not that simple. And it's not that easy. A lot more selling from them versus owning what just happened. Guys, we're set up. Like, the Herschel Walker part of the trade is still to come. You're not allowed. Jerry was, like, telling us rules on how to talk about Micah Parsons moving forward. That irritated me. Boundaries. So let's get it straight. This Micah thing is so sensitive to him. He brought it up unprompted. Mm-hmm. It was him. And he's like, here's the way you need to ask me about it moving forward. Here's the way you need to talk about it moving forward because the draft picks are a-coming. And by the way, we re-sign George Pickens and get something restructured with Quinnen Williams. That's all because of what we did with Micah. It would not have been financially possible to re-sign George Pickens if Micah Parsons was here, and then all the capologists on social media went quickly to point out that was wrong.
Yeah, they absolutely could have got it done. I think the Micah attitude or whatever, so when he started directing that, he did it kind of out of order, but he started just ranting about Mike, and it's a little bit like, what are you doing right now? You're upset about the way people ask you questions. And then when he was done, he goes, but when we made the Micah trade, well, instead of saying, but when we made the Micah trade, and then being like, by the way, when we talk about this, so it seeed like he just randomly was taking a detour out of nowhere to talk about Micah. He just got a little like out of order with the way to set it up. But I think that I would not be surprised if the league has told both of them to, you guys calm down. Like, y'all need to chill. Like, this, like, back and forth constantly, like rivalry, cool, whatever else. Like, this whole little, like, he slandered my name. I think that's why Jerry's tone was super under control when he got asked about it on KNC. And I think that's why he's a little bit like we need to talk about him in a certain way. Yeah, I would not be surprised if the league, not like a slap on the wrist, I just would not be surprised if somebody in the league reached out and was like, hey, both y'all chill. Like, this is a little much.
I felt Schotty did take the most ownership of the season, raising his hand. This is on me. We didn't get it done. He said we should be in the playoffs. We are basically a playoff team. That's incorrect. And then the most irritated I got with Brian Schottenheimer was talking about Tyler Smith. I didn't like that at all.
It was very different energy from him. He's never had an energy that basically said, yeah, we had a talk, and I told him, you're a guard until I tell you to play tackle, and then you better be prepared to play tackle.
Yeah.
Like, it was very interesting. But I think it's also...
but Tyler, that's why Tyler's such a great team guy. He'll do it. Joe, well, I don't know if he'll do it. He might do it with Joe Panos on the line, his agent, if that's the right agent that I'm referencing, Bobby. If I'm Joe Panos, listen to that, I'm furious. Unless there's already been some talks about him switching. And I saw DLLS bring this up. I thought it was a good point. If you're going to have him switch to tackle, he has to be told now for the body transformation, for the training versus the all-world guard that he is in this moment. But I did not like Brian Schottenheimer's tone. This ain't, as Brian knows, this ain't Little League. This ain't rec ball. This ain't Pee-wee to where it's, hey, next game against, Garland, you need to switch out here and play this position.
We just out-athlete the next person.
Yeah, no. You gave me a guard contract. I'm not going to play tackle at guard money. And I just didn't like that either.
Yeah, and the way it was said, very much projected, hey, the best I can give you is an answer in the moment. You will never have clarity about where you are other than in the moment. And so, like, I could change it in 2 seconds if I want. That's the way it came across. I'm sure it wasn't meant to be put that way to us at the very least. Maybe it was, but I'm sure it was not meant to be projected that way.
Maybe it's trying to project also to the rest of the team, like, you're going to do what's best for the team.
Yeah, and it could mean that there's no chance that they move him to tackle. It could just be trying to, like, let him know a little bit, like, hey, you're a guard, but if there's some reason it comes up, you need to be prepared that you will go there.
You said in the email, and you're right, and I knew this going in. I just allowed myself to, I'm looking for some hope, okay? I'm like Jesse Jackson. I'm looking for a little hope. It's the most powerful thing in the world. Just listening to Jerry and all of them sit up there and act like, guys, it's not that big a deal. This is the tone I was getting from it. We have this pieces. We got foundation pieces. The culture's so much better. And the culture with Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams here in an offseason, like, it's just not that big a deal. That was the tone that I was getting versus falling on the sword, owning it more as failure, which it absolutely was, and then just selling us as they usually do.
Because if they commit to you full failure, like, hey, this is a failure of building and things like that, even internally, if that's what they're discussing, then what they publicly project at that point is, hey, we've got to make wide sweeping changes that they probably don't have the resources in one offseason to fix all of it. And I don't know that they can project to fans right away, hey, we may not have enough resources. We could hit on everything. Every draft pick could hit, every free agent acquisition could hit, and we may still not have enough because we didn't have enough resources to plug every hole.
I actually think that's intelligent, what you just said. I think it's giving them way too much credit. I think it's giving them way too much credit. This is Jerry Sales, in my opinion.
That's exactly what it is.
Jerry Sales, also an aspect of delusion and just continuing to sell why they're the right people for the job. We're not that far away. We just had 7 wins.
I went and looked. I did a little very brief research project on this. Did the Kansas City Chiefs general manager have a press conference about the end of season, or did Andy Reid have a press conference about the end of season? Did the Detroit Lions have a press conference about missing the playoffs, or did Dan Campbell? Right? It's one voice. That's what I want to hear. One voice, because this is just a sales pitch.
Most teams do.
They haven't yet.
No, they haven't yet. But I mean, for instance, even last year, the Lions did with Campbell and Brad Holmes.
So, like, my whole thing here is, nothing's changing. There's nothing going to be different moving forward. This is one of those shareholder meetings where they promise you things. And they say, everything's going to be, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're going to have improvements here. New coffee machine. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter. None of it really matters. None of it really does anything. None of these changes are ever going to come. Because they don't really make wholesale changes anyway. They'll make a little tweak here or there.
Well,
they'll get a splash player every now and then.
Yeah, we got a new head coach last year. We're getting a new defensive coordinator. They were not willing, at least during the portion I heard. Bobby was there for the post-Jerry session. He was not going to commit to a free agent strategy and come out and say, I thought he might come out and say, we're going to spend big, just buckle up. But he didn't want to overpromise that. I don't know what happened after.
I think it's clear. This is, again, a setup of like the Derrick Henry question. Okay, in fact, it needs to be whatever this phenomenon is, whatever this psychological thing is. We can call it the Henry effect, if you like. When Derrick Henry signed with the Baltimore Ravens and people crushed the Cowboys for like, hey, he wanted to be here. It sounded like y'all didn't even pick up the phone. You didn't even call. What is that? And then Jerry's standing up there getting questions about it when he's destroying the league, and he's getting really frustrated every time it comes up. He's not getting frustrated because you're questioning him for getting it wrong or anything like that. He's mad because he submitted to a consensus that told them they couldn't afford him. And he had told them, like, I want to do this. I want to get him. Like, why are we not doing this? And they're telling him, can't. And he went, okay, y'all are telling me we can't? Okay, I guess I'll step back. And then he's having to stand up there and go, through his teeth, want to say, I agree with y'all. We should have signed. I wanted to. I think similarly, he will submit to whatever the consensus is. Because if 8 people are telling him we got to do this, he's going to say, okay, fine, we'll do that. But I think that he's trying to publicly lobby and put pressure on that table that they're going to sit at of, we need to spend money. I don't think Steven wants to. But the way that Jerry's talking about, Jerry afterwards had said, This is the quote he said. Somebody asked me about the fans. We're going to keep this thing as good as we can possibly be. Finances are no object. We're going to make it as entertaining as we can and keep it as lively as we can for everybody. And talked a lot about being able to spend money and go after it. And he's talked to us about the cap situation. Cap situation's great. It's good. It's in a good...
Because of my Micah deal.
I think he's leaning on that table that they're going to sit at and say, y'all, I think we can do this. You better have answers for me as to why we can't. And at the end of the day, they've got to spend to some extent because they need players.
What was another main takeaway for you?
I'm really interested in the fact that when they were talking about some of the team building stuff, the fact that Steven mentioned a multi-year deal that they want to get done for Javonte Williams.
Yeah, they are not being shy in wanting Javonte and Jadeveon back. Normally it's, we'll see.
Right.
Why? Let's slow play it. Let's not give their agent too much leverage publicly. And he just came right out with it we want Javonte back. And I even got the hint, Bobby, in the answer that Javonte, this may be being way too optimistic, I thought I heard a little hints of Javonte really wants to be back here and he may be willing to play some ball with us to get something nice done. That's what I heard in the answer. But not being shy about Jadeveon and Javonte off the jump.
Well, Jadeveon, that would be... they would have to put some work in to get him signed because that is not his MO. His MO is skip a camp, 1-year deal, I'll be there in September.
Which Jadeveon, I think, actually said. I heard someone say that Jadeveon wanted to be in a camp. And
Tommy told us that the week before he had said that.
I was like, what?
That he had looked at it and said it'd be nice for him to actually get an off-season ramp up. I think he did enjoy Dallas. As much as there were all the different problems, I think he enjoyed kind of being looked at as.
Yeah, but I'm talking about enjoying camp.
No, I know, but I think he enjoyed being looked at as I'm kind of the leader here, and I think he'd like the idea of we can go through off-season workouts and I'm kind of the guy here, leading everybody.
You don't
I think
really
he liked
sweat
that.
Oxnard. Right, it's got a cupcake, camp cupcake.
Except, Bobby in the sun with a sweatshirt.
With a hoodie on.